Hey everyone, Astrokit here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today we're talking about astrocartography, and specifically we're talking about your planetary lines. Where in the world do you want to live? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to have a business? And where does the energy best favor you in the world based on your birth chart? I also want to emphasize in this video how it's not just living in a place when it comes to your planetary lines, but we can also consider where you want to stay, where you want to go to school, where you want to rent an apartment. For some of you guys, if you have like properties, if you guys, got money like that, if you want to own a property, where do you want to buy property? So it kind of influences where you want to just be in general. It's not necessarily just live, but wherever your planetary line falls basically influences where you want to be for extended periods of time. So 10 planets, 10 lines. There are more lines that sometimes you can use, but we're just talking about 10 planets in this video. So those 10 lines that go with those 10 planets. And as you guys can see on the screen, you can go to astro.com, and I think I'll put a screen recording of how to get there. But basically just click Astro Travel on the little tab menu, and then it just shows you a literal map of the world and how your birth chart and planetary lines overlays the world. So if you guys live in North America, Central America, South America, Europe, it has those options. And if you want to move to any of those places or be in any of those places, buy property in those places, y'all, if some of you guys are into that, then you could just select that option. It'll show you like, here's your sun line, it overlays this country, this city, this state, etc. And if you live in a place where this kind of concept doesn't apply, or you want to move to a place where you don't necessarily have a planetary line, because your planetary lines aren't going to overlay every single place in the world, there will be some gaps there. A life hack that I like to use, and this is something that can really work for major cities, for example, or countries, where every major city or country usually has a birth chart. Now, not every single major city or country has a birth chart, but if you can manage to find the birth chart of the city you want to move to, for example, or the country or even the state, then you can just calculate the birth chart for that city, state, country, etc., and then do a synastry chart with your chart and that country's chart, city's chart, or state's chart. So like New York or Los Angeles, both of those cities are major cities in America, and they both have a birth chart. So if you put your birth chart with New York and overlay the synastry, you kind of get a vibe for what your life would be like there, or how your energy coincides with New York's energy. So if you didn't have a planetary line going through New York City, then you can kind of just do the synastry with New York to get a vibe of what your life would be like there and what your energy would be like combined with New York City's energy, for example. So now for the sun line, when it comes to your sun line, now this is kind of a popular line to look at since your sun is such an important planet in your chart, and a lot of people do suggest living or being near a place where your sun line does run through. So in the place of your sun line, you can expect the theme of visibility to be very strong. The sun represents being visible in the world, you being visible in the world. So the place you go to where you have your sun line, you could be very visible there. You could gain fame there. You can gain recognition there and have more status or popularity if you go to that place. And it also kind of goes with this theme of advancement. So any sort of career advancement that you have, or self-improvement, since the sun is about self-development, those are key themes that can be strong for you if you go to wherever your sun line is. Some other themes here are leadership, self-confidence, and assertiveness. Another strong theme here can be independence. So as we know, solar energy functions on its own and creates its own light. So if you move to a place with your sun line, you can expect independence to be a theme, feeling more independent, achieving independence, learning how to be autonomous and self-sufficient. So generally speaking, you can feel quite comfortable in the place wherever your sun line is. There can be more of an ease, especially with like moving pains and like going to a different place. That can be a whole thing in itself. Your sun line can be a place where you just feel comfortable. You feel at ease, you feel yourself, you feel authentic. And the destination of wherever that is can just be a place for you that you feel like it is meant to be for you, or it's destined for you. And the kind of con I can foresee with the sun line is that it can create over-independence or hyper-independence. So depending on what you want in life, or what is the goal of that place for you, that you want to move to, or just be involved in for some reason, can create a very self-focused energy, or just focusing on yourself, which is a good thing. But if you wanted more partnership or more socializing, solar energy isn't necessarily the best planet for that. So moonline, you can feel comfort in the place that you go to. Moving can be stressful, going to a new place is kind of chaotic, but if you move to a place with your moon line, you might feel like it's a smooth move, or it's just a comfortable move for you, like this place is meant to be for you. A place that kind of brings you comfort, especially psychological comfort or mental comfort. So also with the moon line, it can create this theme of introspectiveness. It kind of contrasts the sun line, where sun line is more about visibility, putting yourself out there, confidence, etc. But moon line can make you turn inward or feel more reflective. And the dynamic that surrounds you in that place can be feminine. Feminine energy can be stronger here, or you want to tap more into your feminine energy when you move to a place with your moon line. Something else that's strong here is past life energy. So with your moon line and the places that are under your moon line, you can feel like those places are memories for you, or you've been there before, or you sort of have this like kind of recognition of that place, even if you never lived there before. If it's a new place to you, it feels familiar. So for that reason, some of you guys can feel like there's a spiritual significance there, or like a karmic significance, kind of past life resonance for wherever you move to that is near or under your moon line. Under the influence of your moon line, you can also feel like you're focused more on your inner life, your inner world, your inner self. We kind of touched on that earlier with that theme of introspection. And on a psychological level, you can be more focused on your subconscious mind, focused on your dreams, doing a lot of dream work, spiritual work, doing those more feminine activities that relate to that lunar energy. The moon can represent things that are simple, like milk, for example, and under your moon line, you can feel like this need for simplicity, a need to dial back on extravagance, and kind of live more plainly. And for the property people watching this, if any of you guys are like into real estate, or want to buy property or rent out a unit or something like that, I feel like your moon line could be a lucrative place to do those kind of things like real estate. And the one drawback and con of your moon line, I feel like, is instability. Lunar energy isn't stable. It is kind of fickle and changeable. So even though you could feel this home feeling with your moon line, you might find that change is really strong. And sometimes with lunar energy, there can be this kind of lack of groundedness. Now for your Mercury line, now Mercury is a changeable planet. It's a very social energy as well. So wherever your Mercury line is and the places that are underneath it, you can find that in those places you feel more social. You want to connect with people. You want to increase your network circle. So networking is really strong here, and connecting with other people. So if that's one of your goals or something you want to do, your Mercury line is really great for that. And your Mercury line is also great for commerce. If you're somebody who is in business, you want to start your own business, or you're in some sort of business that you have to use communication, you have to collaborate with other people, you have to write contracts or sign contracts. Mercury is the planet of commerce, so it's really great if you want to do business in a certain place, or you want to work in a certain place, especially if you are in the media industry, if you're involved in social media even. Media and communication is amplified with your Mercury line, so if that's something you're into, something you want to do, if that's a goal of yours, it can be advantageous for you if you live somewhere or you stayed somewhere where your Mercury line is. Mercury also represents learning. So I can imagine if some of you guys want to go to a certain school, study in a certain place, if that place is underneath your Mercury line, it can be beneficial for you. If teaching is your profession, this can also be beneficial for you. And Mercury just represents learning things in general. So if you move to a place with your Mercury line, it can be great for learning a new skill, learning a new hobby. Learning anything new is great with Mercury energy. Mercury energy is also very busy. So in your Mercury line place that you are in or live, you can find that you have a very busy lifestyle. It's not very calm with Mercury energy, and that is maybe one con for some people, is that Mercury energy can be a bit scattered. It could be unstable and inconsistent. So it's not the most grounded energy, but it is great for new beginnings. It's great for collaboration, socializing, making those new connections with people and learning new things, but perhaps not the most stable or grounded energy for long-term endeavors. So now with your Venus line, it can have a lot to do with your material desires. Venus, as we know, represents beauty, love, harmony. So those are some themes that can be present under your Venus line. Also, themes that can be really strong here is pleasure. And wherever your Venus line goes through, you might find that in those places, you're more pleasure seeking. You want to enjoy things. You want to enjoy the finer things in life and be more indulgent. And indulgence can be a really strong theme here. It's kind of like that umbrella theme with Venus. So wherever you move to, you can find that material indulgence is really strong. and also fulfilling your material desires. And Venus is known to be the planet of wealth as well. So I can imagine for some people, you can feel that urge to build wealth, make more money, and really focus on wealth building wherever your Venus line goes through. And what else pops up with Venus? Partnership. So under your Venus line, in that city or place that's underneath it, have that urge to partner with people, to socialize more, to create social connections, to build your social network. And for some people, you might even be a little bit of like a socialite under your Venus line, or be more in that socialite energy wherever that is for you. And this can take a romantic turn as well, where maybe in that place you have more romantic options. You want to engage in more romance, you maybe even meet your future spouse in the place that you have your Venus line, or just in general have more relationships in that place. If your lifestyle, your goals, your profession even involves the beauty industry, this can be a great place for you to move or be around. Even fashion, design, acting, those creative endeavors, creative professions. You can find this Venus energy really benefiting you in those places where your Venus line is. If you want to have any of those professions, or you have goals related to the fashion industry, beauty industry, or any industry that is relevant to aesthetics. And if you want a life partner, if you want a boyfriend, a girlfriend, if you just want more social harmony or to expand your social network in general, this could be a great place for you. So now, what is the drawback of your Venus line? So Venus line can just create laziness or overindulgence. We talked about indulgence earlier, and indulging in your material desires, fulfilling your desires, which can be beneficial, but it can go overboard and you can be very overindulgent with this Venetian energy being prominent wherever your Venus line goes through. So now for your Mars line, wherever that runs through, there can be a strong theme of ambition. Martian energy can create this really strong pointed focus for you if you have a really specific goal, if you need motivation, if you are someone who wants to take a risk with something, your Mars line can be great for those things. And the energy of Mars is very goal-oriented. Under your Mars line, you can feel that energy of wanting to achieve things, wanting to pursue your goals, wanting to go after your desires and fulfill them with this Martian energy influencing you. So with that comes this theme of independence. So if you wanted to cultivate more independence, be more independent, or perhaps you just happen to move to a place that's under your Mars line, you might find that that energy really influences you and inspires you to have the urge to be more independent, focusing on yourself, focus on your goals, learning how to be self-sufficient or autonomous. And so with that, your Mars line might not be the best place for partnerships or cooperation. Mars is known to be a violent planet, or a planet that causes violent circumstances that are aggressive or harsh. But there are ways to channel that aggressive or harsh energy into your goals or into positive things. For example, something strong here can be physical activity, and in the place where your Mars line runs through, you might find that you engage in more physical activities. Start going to the gym more, have gym goals, or fitness goals. So it is great for fitness in that sense, or doing physical activities. If you have a physical career, a physical hobby like dance, or something like that, you can find that it's easier to do those things, or you have more energy supporting those activities, physical activities, with your Mars line. So with all that being said, we can kind of get a grasp for what your Mars line is good for, but when it comes to the cons of your Mars line, it can kind of touch on that topic we talked about of just discord or disharmony with relationships, or not necessarily having the most collaborative energy or collaborative intentions under your Mars line. Where your Venus line might be better for collaboration and socializing, as well as Mercury, Mars might not be the best planet for that. Now, what is your Jupiter line good for? What is the kind of energy you can expect with your Jupiter line? The themes here are teaching, learning, and spirituality. So the places under your Jupiter line, perhaps you want to move there to learn a new skill, to teach something. If some of you guys are choosing a school to go to, maybe a college to go to, the school or college underneath your Jupiter line can be beneficial for you, or you find that you have beneficial energy working in your favor when it comes to going to school under your Jupiter line. And of course, Jupiter has to do with expansion. So underneath your Jupiter line, those cities, those places, you can experience spiritual expansion, just experience expansion of your life experiences, expansion of your wisdom, and things like that that have to do with Jupiter. Also with spirituality, religion can be relevant too. So maybe your church, or maybe a spiritual school that you want to go to, or if some of you guys want to take a pilgrimage or something like that, if there's some sort of like spiritual goal that you have, and the place that is relevant to that spiritual goal is underneath the Jupiter line, it can benefit that goal. It's also a great place for possibility and opportunity, getting new opportunities for work or just in general, seeing the possibilities of things, being more optimistic, and just experiencing more gains in that sense when it comes to receiving opportunities or receiving new possibilities in your life. I can imagine if you move to a place under your Jupiter line, it's kind of like that place you move to where you have new horizons, where you feel optimistic about life, where you have a sort of fresh start and you feel excited about it. And these places can also bring you luck or fortune too. Now, the other side of this, and some cons perhaps with your Jupiter line, can be complacency. Jupiter, as we know, it's the planet of expansion, but oftentimes Jupiter just keeps expanding, and there can be that lack of restriction or lack of discipline. So that can be a theme too, and that can kind of be a con, so to speak, is limitlessness and overexpansion, overindulgence. Going beyond the limit can be somewhat of a theme here with Jupiter, and something that can get out of control. So now for your Saturn line, now the place underneath your Saturn line, if you move there, if it's a place that you go for some time, it can be relevant to discipline, hard work, and reality. It can be a place where you have to face reality, face the truth of things, face harshness, or experience obstacles. And wherever this place is in the world for you, you can experience having to develop more maturity in this place, having to develop more of a logical attitude, to be serious, to be sober about things. And needless to say, it might not be the most fun place. It's not very Venusian or Jupiterian in nature. However, it is a place where you do learn lessons in life, learn how to be disciplined, learn maturity, for example, and really cultivate a sense of hard work. One of the beneficial parts of this, I feel like, is the ability to create long-term plans or see the future, create plans for your long-term goals. I think achievement is very possible here with Saturnian energy. It just takes more effort. So if you do have long-term goals that you want to achieve, if you want to get more serious, if you just want to have more of a stronger, more grounded approach to life, I feel like your Saturn line can be great for that. And if you do have serious goals that you want to achieve, I feel like with Saturn, you're definitely going to achieve those things. It might be after delays, after obstacles, after rejection, but the success that you do achieve with Saturn is long lasting. So whatever you want to last for a long time, your Saturn line can be great for those goals or for those things or experiences. This place can also make you very aware of your limits, aware of your restrictions in life, and teach you how to overcome your limits, overcome boundaries, and really set yourself free in a Saturnian way. Now for your Uranus line. So Uranus, it's a very unpredictable energy. So the places underneath your Uranus line can be very unpredictable for you, places that maybe you don't expect to be in. And unexpected circumstances can be a strong theme under your Uranus line. Also under this line, there can be this strong theme of experimenting, doing new things, being innovative. And you can even become some sort of a rebel under this line. This Uranus energy can influence you to be rebellious, to do things differently, to go your own way. But that's something that you're into, something you're looking for is drastic change, unpredictability, unexpectedness. This is a great energy for you. Uranus energy is also very bold. So if you needed to be bold for something, or if you had a goal that made you want to be more bold towards something and take the leap, take the risk for something, Uranus is great here. So risk-taking and spontaneity is strong here. Also, if you're someone who's involved in the aviation industry, if you want to be involved in that industry, or even if that's like your hobby or something, Uranus does rule aviation. It rules planes, it rules air travel. So that can be strong for some people if you want to be like a flight attendant, or if you just are interested in planes for whatever reason. Uranus is that planet that represents aviation, planes, and flight. So if you want to get into that inventor energy, rebellious energy, do things that haven't been done before, you can find that Uranus really cultivates an atmosphere for that. And so given all this energy, we're talking about this electric energy of Uranus, I feel like one of the cons of this Uranus line can be unexpectedness, instability, and just having an unstable lifestyle or experiencing a lot of drastic change without predictability. And ultimately, I feel like a word that describes Uranus energy well is scatteredness. So now for your Neptune line, the energy that kind of cultivates here is having to do with spirituality. The places under your Neptune line can be great places to engage in spirituality, to, for example, have a spiritual practice that you want to do or spiritual hobby. Even if you don't live under your Uranus line, I can imagine, for example, if you go on like a yoga retreat, if you go to school to study some sort of spiritual practice or engage in some sort of spiritual program, I feel like this Neptune energy cultivates that sort of goal or experience. Something else this Neptune energy supports is creativity, artistic abilities. So if you have some sort of artistic goal, or you just want to feel creative or inspired or divinely inspired, Neptune can bring that or cultivate that atmosphere. And I can imagine, I feel like your Neptune line would be a great place for vacation. If you wanted to go someplace and just relax, unwind, unravel, and just engage in spiritual activities or creative activities, the Neptune line is great for that. So vacation is good, but I feel like with living under your Neptune line, it can cause confusion, disarray, or just like a lack of direction in life. Generally speaking, there's a lack of groundedness with Neptune, as you can imagine. So living under your Neptune line, it might not be the most stable energy, but it is great for creative energy or spiritual pursuits. So now for your Pluto line. Now with your Pluto line, it can cause this energy of turbulence. Now out of all the lines, Pluto can be the most difficult to deal with or difficult to live under or be under for long periods of time. Since Pluto does have that ability to cause upheavals, transformation, and just in general, extremes. And it is the planet known to be responsible for destruction too. So we can definitely tread lightly with this energy. It's not the most favorable energy for certain goals or certain lifestyles. However, under your Pluto line, you can definitely experience more transformation and more karmic transformation as well. Pluto here can bring up this theme of karma, of karmic experiences, so that can be really strong here underneath your Pluto line. Also dealing with the subconscious, dealing with the underworld, so to speak. This can be like the literal underworld or like paranormal activity. I feel like if you lived under your Pluto line, that could be a theme, is paranormal activity in your home, or just like darker experiences can be strong here too. But on a metaphorical level, this can be like your subconscious mind, your subconscious fears. Maybe you go to a place or like travel to a place, it can be temporary. While it's underneath your Pluto line, it's like a place where you have to face your fears, or you experience a traumatic experience where you have to face something difficult or something karmic in your life. So with that being said, some themes I feel like that could be felt under your Pluto line is a theme of insecurity, a theme of fear. Pluto, like we talked about, it kind of rules turbulence, upheavals, extremes. So that lack of stable foundation can cause a feeling of instability or insecurity underneath your Pluto line. And in some cases, even a lack of safety or lack of feeling of safety. I feel like this planet, Pluto, it does oppose the moon or like the moon line. So all those things we talked about with the moon line can be opposite to the Pluto line. So that being said, thanks for watching, and also give your advice in the comments on some of the lines you maybe lived under. What was your experience with that? And let us know about that down below.